Hello, my lovey. Welcome to ZFG Living Podcast. I am lucky enough to be interviewing Sarah Lowell. What does she do? Oh, only trains the cutest puppies on earth. And she does it virtually, which I think is so kickin'. Welcome, Sarah. So glad to have you.
Thank you, Mel. Great being
So,
here.
absolutely. And we were just chatting about how cool it is that you can train puppies virtually, like mind blown. Tell me about that.
Well, it's actually more about training the owner than training
Right.
the puppy. So, fortunately, I can explain to the owner what they need to do. I have instructional videos that they can watch, and that's often how I start a lesson, is by showing them the video so that they can see what it is they need to do. Some people can follow directions, verbal directions. Other people learn better through watching the video.
Mhm.
And then they work with their puppy. And the cool thing is that I can watch them through a Zoom call and see things that they're not aware of, where
Mhm.
I can help them improve their training technique and improve the communication that they have with their puppy. And it's really effective. I really love it.
That's amazing. So when you're explaining how this is done, right? And then I currently do not have a dog. I have had dogs in the past, and I think it's very cool and they're so smart. And so when you talk about training the human, I think that that is where a lot of inconsistency can happen.
Exactly.
Anyone who's ever tried to monitor their own diet can attest to that, because
Exactly.
puppies are so stinking cute. So instead of giving in to the puppiness and the cuteness, what are some tricks that you tell the humans so that they don't spoil the pup?
Well, it's important to be consistent. So, puppies really thrive with routines and schedules. And if you are consistent with them, they're going to become more comfortable in their environment faster. They're going to learn faster, and they're going to become the well-behaved dog that is what people really want.
Mhm.
Cuteness only lasts for so long.
Oh, now those are fighting words,
It,
Sarah.
well, but if you've had a puppy recently, I have a young puppy here that I'm working with. It's very, very fearful, and he's got some teeth on him,
Mm.
and always wanting to nip and bite and chew. And it's a good thing he's cute, because I wouldn't put up with that from an adult dog.
That's why puppies and babies are cute, because they depend on us so completely, and we'd better be buying in.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly right.
One of the reasons I love animals is because of the you like the mental health support aspect of it, and just the physical, like just petting an animal, regulates your heart rate. It, can take you out of that fight, flight, freeze, fawn situation. And what when people are maybe in the midst of the puppy training and they're like, I would just like to have a roll of toilet paper exist in my house that isn't shredded by their little puppy teeth. Like what kind of, like, what length of process is it, to where you kind of, I know you don't humanize the puppy, but you get them to allow the humans to live a little more easily inside the home.
Well, it's kind of I won't say it's exactly a compromise, but the owners need to come to an understanding with their puppies. And that's where I can help them through teaching them the body language and what their puppies are trying to communicate to them. Because once they have that basic understanding, then they can meet the puppy's needs. And
Mhm.
then that eliminates a lot of the frustrations that puppy owners have with the undesirable behaviors that
Mhm.
puppies do. So, through management is a big thing for young puppies, because they don't know anything. They don't know anything about living in our homes, and they're going to entertain themselves wherever they find something that is worthy of their attention. So whether it's a roll of toilet paper that they're going to shred, or maybe it's the corner of an area rug,
Mhm.
or maybe it's a child's toy that was left out on the floor where the puppy had access to it. They're going to chew, they're going to do things. And so management is a big part of an early, young puppy's life, until they can get the training on board to know
Mhm.
not to do those things. And it also helps the owner with their stress levels and their frustrations,
Right.
because working with a puppy is pretty much a 24/7 job, and it can be very well, it's time consuming. It requires a lot of your energy to always know
Mhm.
what the puppy's doing. And if you don't know what the puppy's doing, invariably the puppy's getting into trouble. So if I strongly encourage the use of a crate or some sort of pen where the puppy can be confined in a safe place for
Mhm.
periods of time. And that gives the owner freedom to prepare a meal or take a shower, or, those basic life things that we have to
Mhm.
do that require your attention. And you can't do well if it's a hard thing to multitask.
Right.
So, if you're
Exactly.
baking and you're measuring ingredients,
Yeah.
you can't also be paying attention to where your puppy is. So,
Right. And
there's a lot of strategies that we use to get through that.
I know I, for one, thought that putting the dogs in a crate, that was mean and cruel. And I didn't understand that, like, that's their room. And so, as, I learn more about animals and, their need for, that security, that place, that's familiar smells. Then I realized, and watching my own dog, that he would retreat, if it were busy, if we had people over, especially a bunch of little kids or something,
Mhm.
and be like, okay, peace out. I'm just gonna go.
Exactly. And that's a very common misbelief, because puppies don't regulate very well. They go and go and go,
Mhm.
and they get overstimulated. When they get overtired, they don't get enough rest. And then it's like they're on steroids. I mean, they're just, hyper
Mhm.
energetic, hyper bitey, hyper frantic. And that's no fun. So by using the crate, the crate serves several purposes. It gives the puppy a comfortable, safe place to rest.
Mhm.
And if we follow the routines and the schedules that I mentioned earlier, puppies are just like babies. And if you have a baby, you have regular scheduled nap times, right?
Right. Right.
So it works the same way for a puppy. So it helps with their behavior. It decreases your frustration because the puppy is overstimulated, because the puppy is overtired.
Mhm.
Uh, so the crate is good for napping. As you said, dogs will seek it out if things are a little too chaotic for them.
Mhm.
And dogs, I can't say it enough, but dogs really um, they have routines and they thrive with routines. And even having a friend over to the house is enough of a change in routine that it could be stressful for some dogs.
Mhm.
So if that's your dog, then maybe he's going to go find a quiet place where he can be away from the stress of having a new person in the house and go to his crate, which is a safe place, a safe, quiet place. Um, I like, for beyond that, I like the use of crates because if you look at life from the puppy's perspective,
Mhm.
um, if you have servicemen in your house working, or you have workers that are going back and forth to the truck and bringing in tools and
Sure.
equipment, if you're not watching your puppy could easily slip out the door.
Right.
So you know, it's to keep the puppy safe, but it's also for the owner's peace of mind.
Right.
So, it serves lots of good uses. And unfortunately, it is an uphill battle to get people to realize that it is a good thing and not a punishment or a bad
Right.
thing.
Right. And let me ask something about the crate. I know that some dogs appreciate having the, like, sides covered. Can you tell me more about what that serves?
Some do. Some I find that overreactive dogs do better if their crate is covered because it reduces the stimuli. Okay,
Okay.
so a dog that's reactive is going to be stimulated by visual things, sounds, that kind of thing. And so the covering reduces a lot of that. So it can help calm the dog down.
Mhm.
There's some dogs that are a little bit fearful and they might feel better being in a more solid um, environment
Right. It's
meaning
kind
the
of like a
crate is
cave, like you
covered.
kind of retreat to a nice
Exactly.
cozy spot.
Exactly. Rather than, my favorite crate is a wire crate, but it's very open and exposed. And so
Hmm.
for a fearful dog, I might cover at least the back so they have, a little bit of security and they don't feel like they're in a fishbowl.
Oh, right. Yeah. Because they'll be self-conscious too.
I don't know if they're self-conscious, but they might be anxious about
Okay.
things that are going on in their world.
Oh, I love it. And make the world smaller, give them their little space.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
so how hard is it to be firm and consistent when the puppies are eh, just getting their puppy on, they're just puppying around. What do you recommend for puppy owners to, to keep that balance?
I recommend that they look at what they want the dog they want their puppy to grow into. Okay. And so if they look ahead and they say, well, I want a dog that I can take places with me. We can go on walks. We can go to the park. Maybe we can go hiking. We can go camping and be in campgrounds, and you look at all the skills that your dog needs to do those things because we love our dogs. It's fun to
Hmm.
take our dogs places and have them with us. But if you don't have that long-term goal in mind, it's easy to give in to the cute puppiness and not be as consistent with the
Hmm.
training or with the structure that the puppy really needs to learn how to live with us in our homes. So I just do my best to give the owners strategies and plans in their
Hmm.
training, and I hold them accountable when we do checkups and when we have conversations, because I work a lot with first-time dog owners and they don't know. They
Right.
don't know what they need to do. And so I really take that to heart and want to guide them so that they do have a well-behaved puppy, because it's a well-behaved puppy and a well-behaved dog that is going to make their lives better. A
Hmm.
dog that is not trained or that is reactive or uh, it's not getting its needs met, like a very energetic dog that's with somebody that leads a sedentary lifestyle,
Hmm.
those are the ones that are going to cause the owner stress. And
Sure.
so, it's not about only about having a well-trained puppy or a well-trained dog, but it's about making their life better. And there,
Hmm.
as you said earlier, there are so many benefits of having a well-behaved dog. It's just the comfort of having that dog up against you. Maybe you're watching TV and the dog is on the sofa right next to you, and you can reach down and pet that silky fur.
Right.
There's a tactile benefit to it. And there have been all kinds of studies done to show how, because dogs are not judgmental, they
Hmm.
just want to be there with us.
Right.
And there are feel good hormones that are released when we are around dogs. So it's the serotonin, the dopamine, the, oh, there's another one that escapes me, but it also has physical benefits.
Hmm.
So as you mentioned, the heart rate, blood pressure can be reduced, anxiety, depression, there's tons and tons of benefits. So, but it's harder to do that if you don't have a well-trained dog.
Right, right. If they're stressing you out, that's going to counteract those benefits pretty darn quickly. So, I know that you will be right when this podcast comes out, you'll be launching a program, and you do your program several times throughout the year, or
I
how
do.
do people work with you?
Yep, I do that about 6 times a year. Is I introduce the program and I open it up for registrations, and the program um, runs about 4 months, but
Hmm.
they have 6 months time to get through it because we know life gets in the way. So it's basically a
Yes.
6 month program. And by opening it up a couple times a year, it gives me time to get the one group through to where they're um, understanding what they need to know to actually be training with their puppies, and they're more or less practicing. And
Hmm.
then I can bring another group through that needs more one-on-one attention, because they do need that, when they start the training program.
Right. Yeah. They're at the beginning, especially like you said, first time pet owners are it's just like guide me, Obi-Wan. I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been really fun talking about puppies and they're humans, and it's just such a delightful bond. I love the work that you do.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed being here as well.